The Premier League returned following a quite eventful international break, with teams back in action after 2 weeks out. To start off the weekend, Chelsea travelled to Turf Moor to battle Burnley. Individuals would control most of the match, with Neto slotting in a diving header after the defender said he didn't want to mark him at the back. Burnley would find the odd chance, but Enzo put it away with a nice counter-attacking goal to seal the game 2-0. The Hammers travelled down south to face the Cherries, and it was a former Bournemouth man who made the difference early on. Callum Wilson haunted his former club with a first-half brace to give his team the 2-0 lead. However, Bournemouth poured it on strong, with keeper Alphonse Areola playing the game of his life to protect the lead. It wasn't enough, however, as Bournemouth equalised for Tavernier and Unal, but the final score could have been much worse for the Hammers. The Bees travelled down to Brighton and snagged the first-half lead through a Thiago penalty. The Seagulls would fight back, as in the 71st minute, things would turn around with the ageless wonder Danny Welbeck poking home an equaliser. That would be followed up with a Hinchelwood half volley at the top of the box to give the home side the lead. Brian just needed to hold on. However, they conceded a second penalty in stoppage time, but Ernie's best friend Bird Verbruggen would be the hero, saving Thiago's penalty after the striker sent it the same way, securing all 3 points for Brighton. Fulham hosted Sunderland in a game that saw the hosts constantly pounding on the door throughout the match but struggling to break through. Despite outshooting their opponents 24-4, Fulham could not find the back of the net. That was until the 84th minute, with Sunderland's keeper misjudging a cross, allowing Raul Jimenez to poke it through for the 1-0 Cottagers win. Now, after a rough few weeks prior to the international break, Liverpool were looking refreshed and ready to send a statement they were still title contenders.
Back post for Murillo! Yes! Oh! Williams, who's away from McAllister and lays it back. Yes! To the penalty area, chance to shoot. Alisson saves, comes in.
Crap, this team is really bad. Despite 21 shots, only 4 landed on target for the Reds, as record signing Isak once again failed to impress. The defense was similarly dreadful, getting easily cut up by force for 3 goals. With only 1 win in the last 7 Premier League games and big summer signings still struggling, Arne Slot will be staring down the clock on how much longer he's got to fix the club's glaring issues. Wolves marked the game with the debut of new manager Rob Edwards, who joined from Middlesbrough after only a few months on the job.
I think he's a Judas bastard.
And Judas did well enough in the first half to keep it level, but in the second half things fell apart. An unlucky deflection allowed an easy first goal, then a poor turnover from Wang allowed Pino to beautifully curl in the second, which Glasner almost ate shit celebrating over. Wolves failed to add any goals, making a 2-0 defeat for Edwards in his first game. Newcastle and Man City produced constant action, and it's quite impressive neither side scored in the first half. Donnarumma produced several clutch saves, while on the other side, Holland couldn't place his shot despite multiple chances. In addition, Harvey Barnes and Phil Foden both missed sitters, but it was Barnes who would redeem himself, scoring out from the top of the box in the 63rd minute to give Newcastle the lead. City would respond quickly, with Ruben Diaz leveling the score in the 67th, and to conclude 7 minutes of insane action, Harvey Barnes was able to jam it in the rebound off the crossbar in the 70th minute. The game would end 2-1, dampening City title hopes. Opening up Sunday's action, Villa traveled to Leeds hoping to continue their improved league form. But the Villains fell behind early as Martinez failed to grab the ball, allowing Leeds to take the lead during the chaos. Leeds would hold on into the half, but in the 48th minute Villa would level, with Morgan Rogers redirecting Malin's cross into the net. Rogers would then give Villa the lead with what I can only describe as a Panenka free kick, just chipping it over the wall and leaving the keeper flat-footed. A minute later, Dino James thought he leveled it for Leeds, yet upon review, this was called back. And that would be all, as Villa would hold on for the rest of the game, ending 2-1. The North London derby saw Tottenham travel to the Emirates, hoping to hinder Arsenal in the pursuit of the Premier League title. Despite offering practically nothing going forward, Spurs would hold on well defensively until Udogie kept Trossard onside, whose deflected shot gave Arsenal the lead. It should be noted prior to the game, Spurs manager Thomas Frank was quoted as saying, "Who's Eze?" in order to deflect questions about Arsenal players. While the man who almost ran Spurs took that personally, as they made it 2-0 in the 41st minute, scored a second less than a minute into the second half, and capped it off with a hat-trick in the 76th. In the middle of this, Richarlison randomly scored from the halfway circle, which was Tottenham's only noteworthy form of attack to show during the entire match. North London would end in red as Arsenal battered their rivals 4-1 to favour cement their place atop the league. The Toffees could not have asked for a worse start against Manchester United. Shortly after Coleman goes off injured, Gonagay gets a red card for slapping teammate Michael Keane following a poor turnover, but Man United failed to do much after getting the man advantage, with Everton striking first through a great Dewsbury Hall goal. Man United were able to add more pressure as the game went on, but failed to find the net, letting Everton grind out a 1-0 win despite being a man down for the majority of the game. That brings Matchday 12 to an end, with Arsenal 6 points clear of Chelsea in second, and Man City 1 point behind in third. The top two clash next week in the marquee clash, possibly proving pivotal for the title chase.